Hey friends, and welcome to Brittany Bruce Education. We are going to continue talking about our brand and working on building our brand based upon who we are as the CEO and the business owner and how God uniquely created us. In the previous video, we talked about the first 5 things to consider when formulating our brand. That's knowing your brand story, incorporating your background and how you got there, your mission, your values, and your unique lifestyle. In this video, we're going to talk about the rest of the 5 out of the 10 ways that you can incorporate who you are into your brand. But before we dive into the video, I want you to download all of our free resources, especially the business workbook that's really going to help you jot all these things down that you're thinking about, and also the free Facebook group that we have. Brittany Bruce Business Coaching for Christian Women in Business. I'd love for you to join us. You can get community, free resources, and videos just like this to help you with your business journey. Okay, so let's talk about the 6 through 10 ways you can incorporate who you are into your brand. Okay, number 6, let people know you're a market of one. Let people know that you are not like any other business, which means you need to tell them why you're different. And I know this is kind of the weird, like, oh, I don't want to be, but no, your job as a business owner is to tell people about your brand awareness. We said in the previous video, how do you establish your brand? Ownership, consistency, awareness. Well, we need to share awareness about the fact that we're different than everyone else. Okay, when I started my photography business, I made sure people knew that I was going to be their extra bridesmaid. I was not there on their wedding day just to take photos. I was going to help them with their grandma. I was going to help them button up their dress. I was going to help them, pray before their wedding if they get nervous. And I did that. I was different than everybody else. That's part of my brand. I was a market of one. There was no other one like me, and there's no other one like you. And that's so freeing once you really wrap your mind around that. So how are you a market of one? How is there no one else like you? Share that. Share that. Your people need to hear it. Number 7, take a deep breath. Okay. Number 7 is going to be hard for some of you, but it's needed. Number 7 is share your message. What is something that God has brought you through that you just see as a big, fat mess? You see as something that you're like, I don't even know how this is going to be beneficial to me or anyone around me. But guess what? Your mess is your message. Your mess is your testimony. If you've been divorced before and you have gotten over it and you have, God has been glorified through it and you found the man of your dreams who treats you right and your kids are better for it, you're better for it, your business is better for it, share your mess. This doesn't have to be something that is broadcasted on the daily, but I think it's needed for people to connect with you because your mess is your message and this is your testimony. When Joe was 3, he was diagnosed with autism. I was very confused on how this was supposed to glorify God. I was confused on how this mess was going to help us as our family. I didn't know how this mess and the unknown and the fear was going to radically, bring anyone to know the Lord at a deeper level or bring any more sales to my business. But guess what? As soon as I started sharing it, people started coming out the woodwork of their child having autism, their brother having autism. And we were able to develop a little tiny community of support around each other. And guess what? Those people bought from me. And those people are in our community. And, not only did they buy from me in our community, but I feel like our mess, our testimony of how we walked through our autism journey helped people. So what's your mess? Because your mess is your message. Because what the enemy wants to keep you locked in and fear, and he wants to destroy you. God wants to use your mess for good. He wants to use your mess and your testimony to bring people closer to him, to bring more community together, because that's who God is and that's how he works. That's his character. So what's your mess? Your mess is your message. Number 9, just kidding. Number 8 is we want to share our spiritual gifts. I know. What are my spiritual gifts? Well, there's a lot of online tests for you to figure that out, but might already know them. You might have the spiritual gift of teaching, wisdom. You might have the spiritual gift of faith. You might have the spiritual gift of hospitality. God has gifted you with spiritual gifts that you're born with. You can't help, but you have, because God gave them to you the moment you were saved. Okay? So figuring out what your spiritual gifts are and sharing it. That's part of your brand, because your spiritual gifts are different than hers and every other business around you, which makes you then a market of one. So find out your spiritual gifts. That would be a fun exercise to do regardless of whether or not you incorporate it into your brand or not. Find out your spiritual gifts and share. Number 9, your voice. Okay? You speak differently than everyone else. You might speak artistically with a lot of adjectives and a lot of, things. Or you might talk like me and words are hard and, you have a hard time getting a sentence out without saying y'all or dang or freaking. Hello, my name is Brittany Bruce. I have a hard time speaking, but this is my voice, okay? Your voice is different than others. People want to hear your voice. Share your voice on your website, especially on Instagram and social media, because your voice is going to, and eye contact is going to establish trust in people. It's going to attract the right people to you. It's going to repel everybody who's never meant for you. Okay? There's nothing wrong with your voice. There's nothing wrong with your speech and how you talk. There's nothing wrong. This is how God made you. Okay? So show up, share it, attract those, repel those who aren't meant for you. That's part of your brand. All right, last but not least, your connection points. This is a fun one. So what are the things that you love that also your ideal client loves? For example, let's just say your ideal client is a mom in her 30s. And she also, you love Fixer Upper and Joanna Gaines, and so does she. That's a connection point. If she sees that on your social media of you watching Fixer Upper and she does the same thing, she's like, oh my gosh, me too. I like her because she likes what I like. Okay? If you enjoy food, like me, and you love eating and you love going out to restaurants and just eating all the things and ordering all the things, share it. Because if your ideal client loves food, that's a connection point. One of the things that I will always remember is when I was a photographer, I put on my website, organization is my happy place. In like a very fine, like little piece at the bottom of like an about me section, I put like organization is my happy place. At an engagement session, we were just finished the engagement session. Is probably one of my best sessions to date. And the groom looked at me, he goes, my fiance booked you solely because she saw on your website that says organization is my happy place. She loved organization too. And I was like, but you did like my work and you really enjoyed my client experience, right? So thankfully they did. But that just goes to show you that your loves, who you are, can connect you with your ideal client, even if nothing else does. If your values don't, if your brand story or your background or your message or your spiritual gifts don't connect them, maybe that last little connection point will attract those who are meant for you and repel those who are not. So those are the 10 ways you can define your brand based upon you and your loves and who you are and your experiences, your background, and how God made you for your ideal client. So write those down. I'll go through them one more time. The 10 is your brand story, your background, your mission, your values, your unique lifestyle, your market of one, your message, your spiritual gifts, your voice, and your connection points. It's a lot. Write those down. This can be a homework activity for you to really nail down your brand, to separate you from the rest of the saturated market. That's the goal here, and to attract those who were meant for you. So I hope this video was helpful. This was a long video, but if you enjoyed it, subscribe so you can get notifications of when we do this again. Like this channel, please, and comment below any questions that you might have about this. I'm constantly looking at YouTube to make sure that I answer all the questions and we can kind of have a deeper conversation. And if you're a Christian woman in business, Join us in our free Facebook group where I can meet you. I go live. I can share Bible study resources with you. I could get to know your story, and we can kind of further the conversation from there. So, love you guys, and I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.